Okay. So, could I please get you to state your full name and spell it out, please, for your first name?
Emiko Takamatsu, EMIKO TAKAMATSU.
Thank you. So I think I want to start with just like a bit of like biographical information. And so, could you tell me where you were born and when you were born, and basically that information, please.
Okay, I was born in Los Angeles, California, on July 22nd, 1930.
Okay. And what is your educational background?
My education, yeah, well, I went from kindergarten to 12th grade. Then after that, I went to business college for 2 years.
Okay. And so did you work in business then?
I did.
So, yeah. What did you do in business?
I worked mostly as a secretary in the office.
Oh, okay. Could you tell me about your family? I know earlier you were saying that you have children.
I have a family of 5 siblings, 4 brothers, and I'm the only daughter.
So, are you the youngest? Or?
Okay, I'm the second from the youngest.
Second youngest, yeah. And so, wow, lots of brothers. Yeah.
I have 3 older brothers, and then myself, and then...
How was that? How was that? Like, how was...
That's why I turned out to be such a tomboy.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
They have an influence
No
on
sisters.
Was it fun? Did you get along with
very
brothers?
much. I was a very tomboy.
What about, like, in the neighborhood where you grew up? Like, how was that? Was that fun? How did you interact with your neighbors and everything like that?
Oh, well, I was pretty shy, you know. I didn't like to mingle too much with too many people.
Yeah. And could you describe the neighborhood you grew up with?
Okay, let's see. Well, I was born in Los Angeles, and then we moved to San Luis Obispo, California, when I was just a baby, I think. Well, I was about 4 years old, and I went to kindergarten over there for a couple of years until our family moved again to Pismo Beach, California, which was only 12 miles away.
Is there a reason that you guys were moving so much? Or was there a reason you guys were moving so much? Or?
Well, I guess because that was during the poverty area, you know, I think depression area, that's what it is. Yeah, so when we moved to San Luis, my dad owned a little hotel in a Japanese area where mostly Japanese people lived.
Right.
It was a very small hotel, and business wasn't too good. A lot of people, because they were so poor, they weren't able to pay their bills, and they would just stay and leave secretly.
Oh, that must have been very difficult.
Yeah. So we moved to, with a family of 5, we moved to Pismo Beach, where my dad had a pool hall, and there's a lot of people who work on the farms over there, so for their pastime, they used to go there and spend time.
Oh, that's awesome.
But Pismo is a wonderful little town for children to grow up in, because there's so many things to do. Like my brothers especially, they used to go surf fishing, pier fishing, clamming. They were famous for Pismo clams. We used to have great big clams like that. In fact, you had to get them at least 5 inches big, or you can't, take them up. And we had a lot of fun digging with a, what do you call those forks? Clam forks. You just go along down the sand until you hear a clunk, and that's when there's a clam down there, so you dig it up and put it in the bag.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, and because we were children, they didn't have any limits. We just put it in the bag and dragged them home.
Wow.
So our mother used to bake them, barbecue them. We used to eat them raw, and so many ways to prepare them. They were really wonderful. And then there's a lot of other things to do, like let's see. Well, my brothers all liked to go hunting.
Oh.
You know, there were doves and quail. They're edible.
Yeah.
And my mother and I, we used to climb the hill and pick mustard greens, which she made into tsukemono,
Oh wow.
you know, for us to eat.
Yeah. And so, was a lot of the food? It sounds like a lot of the food, like you guys caught.
Pardon?
What it sounds like you caught a lot of your food.
Yeah, it was for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we used to go pier fishing, they used to catch perch and smelt from the pier,
Right.
and those are free.
Yeah.
So a lot of, and well, you can get abalones
Right. Wow.
and
Can't do that now.
you know, little snails. You know, they were really good. But that's the place for children to grow up. You know, it's just wonderful.
So would you say your childhood sounds amazing then?
Pardon?
Your childhood sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, we used to go to the movies once a week.
Oh.
It was only 20. My mother used to give us each 25 cents, 5 cents for candy,
Oh wow. Yeah.
and entrance into the movie. And we saw mostly Western films: Hopalong Cassidy, Lone Ranger.
What did you think of those?
And we thought they were great, you know.
Great shows.
Yeah. They don't even look at those anymore.
I mean, I wish. I'd love to watch those.
Oh.
Old movies. Yes. So at that time, it was like, how did you feel about America, basically, like when you were young, as opposed to like when you grew up, like as you grew older? Like.
Oh, well, I just loved it, you know. There was no prejudice at that time. And we had a lot of friends. So.
And so you had no problems interacting with your community? Like,
No,
matter
not
what
at
their
all.
race?
No.
Yeah. Is there a particularly like memorable experience you had, like an interaction with a member of your community that you felt like was like very impactful or like memorable?
I don't know. I was only about 8, 7 to 11, I believe. So no, I didn't feel, you know, any prejudice or discrimination. I had friends that were mostly Caucasians.
Right. And so that's good. That's awesome. So did you stay in your childhood town, or did you end up moving again? I'm sorry.
Oh, where did I stay? Well, we rented a house
Oh, okay.
2 blocks from the ocean.
Oh.
So, you know, it was just wonderful. You just walked. My school was in the same block as where I lived,
Oh yeah.
the elementary school. So all I had to do was wait for the bell to ring, and I would run to school.
Right. That sounds like the life.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And then pier was right there, and the ocean, and everything was walking distance.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
so I didn't have to take a bus or anything.
Did you go to middle school in the area as well, or
Oh
did you?
no, the war started when I was 11 in elementary school, 6th grade.
Right.
So we had to, when the war started, we had to leave the, what is it, what would they call that? Well, we were near the coast, so we had to go into the white zone,
Right.
and they gave us so many days to leave.
Oh.
So we moved to Visalia,
Uh-huh.
which was not that far away, but it was a white zone, and that's mostly farmland.
What is a white zone? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that term.
Well, that's not near the coast. They wanted us away from the coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so what was your experience like? But you still went to middle school.
Yes, in Visalia for a short time only.
How
And
long?
I'd say about a year.
About a year?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Until they said we need to go into the relocation center.
Okay.
So we all had to go on a train
Uh-huh.
with all the blinds down.
Uh-huh.
And I really didn't know what was going on, at that time.
How old were you?
11.
11 and a half. Oh. How, could we first go back for a bit and talk about your 1 year in middle school? How was the 1 year in Visalia?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memories from there?
Oh, yeah, well, it was hard to, well, they were all strangers,
Right.
We just moved over there, so I didn't know anyone over there.
Right.
But then I remember we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance and all the patriotic songs and everything.
Was there a particular reason that you knew, like, why you were doing that, or was it just like you were just told that this is what
Oh,
we're
yeah,
doing?
we were told that, we were at war and that we had to go into eventually go into a relocation center.
And where was the relocation center?
Poston, Arizona.
Boston, Arizona.
Yeah,
And
we
so-
all boarded a train in Visalia. They put all the blinds down.
So is it so you wouldn't know where you were headed?
We had no idea where we were going. All we did was we were able to pack lightly and got on the train a long, long way. I don't remember how many hours it took from Visalia, California to Poston, Arizona. But when we got there, it was miserable. It was just hot. They're known for their hot weather. So it was hot and dusty, windy.
Deserts all over.
My mother got sick and she started vomiting, and so we had to get her some orange juice. And it was pretty upsetting because we didn't know what we were in for.
Right.
Yeah, we
No one
didn't.
told you anything.
No.
No.
Eventually, they took us to the barracks where we didn't have anything in there.
Right.
I think it was just cots.
Do you remember how you were feeling at that time, like before you boarded the train versus like when you got off the train, and versus when you were on the train? Do you remember how you felt during that time?
No, I wasn't too aware of what was happening. Just that I was just wondering, why are the blinds all down that we can't look outside?
Yeah. Did your parents tell you anything, or did they try to keep the information to themselves? Or?
Well, yeah, pretty much to themselves.
Yeah. And so, how long did you stay at the relocation center?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay.
And
Also, feel free if you don't want to talk about anything. Please, like, let me know.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
we
that's
don't
all
have to if
right.
you don't want to.
Well, during the 3.5 years, my mother, she was very healthy at that time.
Mhm.
She had high blood pressure, but to keep herself busy, she worked in the mess hall. A lot of the mothers worked in the mess hall as waitresses, serving the tables. And one morning she woke up and said, "My arm is numb. I can't move it." So I had to run to the infirmary to tell them that my mom is ill. Please come and get her.
Right.
So they came, found out she had a stroke.
Oh.
So in the morning she had the stroke, and then they put her in an army truck, in the back of an army truck, and the whole family piled in, and we went about 7 miles to Camp 1. We were in Camp 3,
Okay.
so we had to go on that dusty, bumpy road to Camp 1 where the hospital was.
Right.
And she was in a coma all day, and in the evening about 7 o'clock she passed away. And she was only 47 years old.
I'm so sorry.
You know.
Do you feel like it would have been different if you weren't in the, like, things might have gone differently
Yeah.
if you weren't in the camp?
If she had the proper medication, you know, with high blood pressure you can control it, but she didn't have any of that. So it was pretty shocking, you know.
How old were you at this time?
13, and my younger brother was 11, and I had older brothers,
Yeah.
3 more.
And do you remember what your family dynamics were like at the time? Like, in the camp, like, did anything change in the family? Like, did you feel that or anything like that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying, did you feel like any changes in your family, like when you went to the relocation center versus when you were growing up? Like,
Oh.
did anyone change? Did anything change?
Well, my older brothers, you know, they pretty much kept to themselves. They made friends, and
Right.
you know, it didn't seem to affect them that much. They had their sports, you know,
Right.
baseball and football and all that. They all kept active, and we all went to school. They built a school over there, so they all kept pretty busy.
Right.
And I had my friends too, you know, people my age, and we kept busy playing basketball and whatever activities they had for us.
Okay. So what would you say, like, a typical day was like for you?
Oh, in camp? Well, it was very inconvenient because if you needed to take a shower or go to the bathroom, there's no privacy whatsoever. There was no partition between the toilets and the showers. So I was very modest, and you know, I refused to go into the shower at the beginning until they got late when everyone went to bed. But you know, it was just so.
So just like, inconvenient.
Yeah. But the mess hall,
Oh, sorry, I'm just trying.
when the bell rang, they rang the bell. We would all line up and go eat our breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
So that was for everyone?
Yeah,
Like,
everyone went to the mess hall to
Right.
eat.
How was the food there?
I know we ate a lot of mutton.
Lot of mutton. Yeah.
Lamb. Well, I guess that's what you call
Yeah.
aged lamb. Mutton stew.
So is mutton just like ruined for you now? Can you like not have mutton anymore, or?
I don't eat it at all. And I don't even like lamb. You know, the smell of lamb.
Oh, yeah.
But
So-
the food was, well, what the cooks over there cook for us, you know. Um,
Were there
mostly
yeah.
chopped vegetables
Mhm.
with chopped meat and rice, always rice.
So did you make like really good friends while you were there?
Oh
How
yeah,
was
I
it?
had some best friends, you know, we were very close.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about them, like what you guys got up to? What did you
Oh,
guys do?
well, we were to get one girl. We were real close friends, and we did everything together. You know, she was either at my house or I was at her house. You know, and we used to walk to school together and try to take classes together. And she was my closest friend, but I had other friends too. I was in the basketball team, and they had a Buddhist church there.
Oh, okay.
So I was in the junior YBA, I think. Yeah.
What is YBA?
Young Buddhist Association.
So do you keep in contact with anyone that you knew from there?
I know where they live,
You know where
but
they
I
live?
really don't have any contacts with them anymore.
Yeah. Did it like did you guys just fall out of contact? Like that just happens sometimes.
Yeah, it just happened. We all have our different interests as we grow older.
Yeah.
And this particular girl that was my best friend, she lives in Westminster, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's about, you know, I just send her a Christmas card and that's about it.
You said that you would go to her house and she would come to your house.
Uh-huh.
What was the housing like?
Oh, well, we, in the barracks, I think 3 families in that particular one we lived in, because we had big families. The one on the end, they only had the couple and the one child. And the one in the middle, I think, is about 4 people. So in the particular one we lived, family of 7, we had no partitions or anything. So eventually my dad put drapes
up?
between the beds and a table in the living room area. It's all very tiny.
Right. So do you remember how your dad was during all of this? Like, what did he have to work during the day? Like, what was he up to?
Well, there wasn't too much work for somebody his age. I forgot how old he was, but they were only getting $16
Oh, God.
a month. A month.
A month?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So there wasn't too many things he could do. But my mom worked as a waitress in the dining room,
Right.
so she was able to get $16 a month.
$16 a month.
Yeah.
Was that enough? Like.
Well, we didn't need money.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
they fed us, and we had
Right.
a place to stay, and
Uh-huh.
so if you wanted to go to the canteen and buy some goodies like
Right.
candy and drinks and stuff, they had over
Yeah.
there. But you didn't really need any money.
So, did you feel that she was working to save up for afterwards, like after you guys left?
Oh,
Or-
well, you can't save very much, $16 a month. And so any clothes we needed while we were there, we would order it through Montgomery Ward's or Sears Roebuck catalog.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you have like a closet? Do you have like?
Well,
how
we
was your
had
fashion sense?
one place that was draped off as a closet, you know, where everybody had
Okay.
their stuff in there.
Uh-huh. Were you? I know you said you were a tomboy. Did you have like?
Yeah, I used to wear jeans and
Yeah.
T-shirts. And,
Uh-huh.
well, there's really nothing to dress up for.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. When my mother died,
Uh-huh.
we wore black, and so somebody sewed me a dress, you know.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
about the only time I needed a dress.
Did you like wearing a dress? Was it like your tomboy self? Like,
Yeah.
like, no.
I wouldn't wear it again. And
Do you know what happened to your housing, like, before the camp? Were you aware of what happened to the house?
oh, well, we were renting the house we were living in
Okay,
Pismo.
Uh-huh.
So all I know is when the war began, I was the only daughter, so my parents had a collection of Japanese Girls' Day dolls.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had the whole set and Japanese books, and so my brothers had swords and rifles, you know, for when they
Wow.
went shopping.
Uh-huh.
All I know is my dad went back there. They said we can't have any of those Japanese artifacts. So he buried everything in the backyard.
Have you ever gone back for that?
No, my brother wanted to go back to dig up. Well, we were renting the place,
Right,
so we couldn't very well go into somebody's property and,
right.
you know, dig. But we knew it was back there. You know, we knew where it was.
Right,
We were
right.
tempted to.
Uh-huh. But it just never
No.
happened. Do you have, what was, this could be very sensitive, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What was life like after you were moved to Camp 1 and after the experience with your mom? Like, were you moved back to Camp 3? Like, what happened afterwards?
Oh, after we left camp?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
After what happened with your mom,
Uh-huh.
when you went to Camp 1, did you go back to Camp 3 afterwards? Like, what were the procedures?
Well, she died in Camp 1 where the hospital was,
Uh-huh.
and we lived in Camp 3.
So did you
and
move
that's-
back to Camp 3 afterwards?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, we just went there for the Camp 1 to the hospital, you know,
Uh-huh.
for the day before she died,
Uh-huh.
you know, at the hospital.
And, sorry, you were getting at after the camp? After the camp, what happened?
Oh, well, my oldest brother left to go to Chicago to work, and then he was drafted into the Army. And then I think, the other 4 kids, my dad had a friend in Ogden, Utah, and he said he asked us to move out there.
Oh,
Where-
in Utah.
Yeah,
Did you
an
go?
entirely different type of place, you know.
Yeah.
It snowed out there, and I was in the 10th grade in high school,
Oh, right.
but
Did you like Utah?
well, it was hard to make friends, you know.
Was there any particular reason? Did you feel like?
Well, I just felt that, after being in camp with all these Japanese people, and then going out to an entirely different atmosphere, that, I felt they didn't like Japanese people,
Right.
because they were the ones who started the war.
Right. So, so how were you feeling? Was it just like isolated? Were you afraid to make shy to make conversation?
Well, shy,
Yeah.
I didn't mingle with them too much.
So did you mostly communicate with your own family, and were there any other Japanese people there? I know you're.
Oh, yes, they had a little Japanese town over there,
Oh, okay.
and I made I had a girlfriend there that I was very close with, so I did whatever I had to do for school, if they had any. Well, once we had to wear long gowns,
No.
for PE or something.
For PE.
Yeah, and we had to do some type of dance, a group dance, and so I wasn't too keen about that. But my dad had to take me to the store, and we bought a long dress, and we performed. Oh God, that was just terrible.
Do you remember the dance?
It was like a waltz, you know. Just girls.
Just girls.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that was
Not fun.
that was quite an experience I'll never forget. Yeah.
Did you like dancing? Like maybe
Oh.
outside of school? Did you ever do anything?
No, not especially,
Not
but that was
especially.
something that was required.
Required.
Yeah.
PE?
It was some type of. I don't know why we had to do that, but.
They just want to torture you.
Yeah.
Torture everyone with this dance.
Right.
And make high school miserable.
Yeah.
And so how was your like in general, how would you say your high school experience was? Like,
Oh, in the 10th grade,
mhm.
it wasn't too much fun. I didn't have too many friends.
Mhm.
And I just felt that, that was the first time we left camp, and I had a hard time making friends.
Yeah. Did it change? Because you said in 10th grade your experience was bad. Did it, like, not so great, but did your experience change maybe throughout the rest of high school? Or?
Well, see, we moved again.
Oh.
Every year of my high school we moved. I
Oh.
was in 9th grade, I was in camp. In the 10th grade, I was in Ogden. And then we moved to Monterey, California.
Was there a reason that you were moving this time? Or?
Occupation.
Right. Okay.
So we moved to Monterey, and I went to Monterey High School. And things got better. I made more friends, and I started going to dances, and it was more fun,
Right. I would imagine so.
But I wasn't there long either, because my dad got seriously ill, so we had to fly to Los Angeles for him to get a kidney transplant. So we moved out to Los Angeles, the whole family.
Okay.
And
Did your brother come back from Chicago to?
yeah, eventually he did. But he was very sad because, his mother died while he was in Chicago.
Yeah. Did.
All my other brothers went to in the army also. My second brother, he went to Korea. And then the other one, he went. Well, it was after the war, so he just was stationed in New York, in Staten Island.
So where did you go for business school?
Oh, okay. Once we came back to Los Angeles, my dad bought a house in Boyle Heights, and I was able to walk to Roosevelt High School.
Oh.
That's where I graduated. after half a year, all that moving, it wasn't fun,
No.
trying to make friends after such a short time.
Right.
So after graduating from Roosevelt, we went to Metropolitan Business School.
Ooh, oh,
And I took up computer office machines and office machines.
oh, computers and office machines.
I don't think they even have those machines anymore.
No. I'm probably not.
No, not computer.
Not
Excuse
like
me.
office,
It's a
office machines.
comptometer operator. That's what I took up.
What is that?
It's a calculating machine. Machine.
Whoa.
And so, after I finished my 2 years there, I got a job with the county, the Bureau of Public Assistance, where I worked for a couple of years.
Did you, growing up, did you have like childhood aspirations? Did you I want to be a cowboy, I want to be, or a cowgirl, I want to be, did you have these dreams of what your job would be?
Well, because my mom died, I was responsible for all the housekeeping in my house, in our house. I had to clean the house and
Right.
go grocery shopping and do all the family cooking for all my family. And so I really didn't have too many aspirations.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your job as working as did you say secretary?
Oh, after I started working, yes,
Yeah.
Well, that was later, when let's see now, what happened? Oh, yeah, I got married, I met my husband.
In college?
No, that was after I finished business school.
Oh.
When I was
okay.
working for the county Bureau of Public Assistance, my sister-in-law introduced me to her brother, and I married him. And so,
Yeah. Well, what is his name?
Toshio.
Toshio?
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. How did you decide that you wanted to go into business? Was it like something
Oh.
that you decided? Did your family decide? How did that happen?
Oh, well, that, Metropolitan was a business college.
Right.
So I took all type of business classes, and so that's all I knew.
It was. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh.
Did you apply to what was the college application process like for you?
Well, it was just a 2-year business school, so it wasn't too. It was very simple, And when I applied for the county, I got the job right away. So started working and advanced myself to the auditor's office downtown LA.
That's cool. How long did you work there for?
Not too long, about a year, because I got pregnant with my first child, and so that's the reason why my husband and I, we moved from East Los Angeles to Monterey Park.
Okay.
We bought a house in the Bella Vista area, which is right near the East LA College. So,
How was motherhood?
oh,
Sorry, that's
it
really
was,
forward.
yeah, well, it was okay. You get busy with the children's
Right.
activities, and
Yeah.
so after 4 years, I had my next son. They're exactly 4 years apart, born on the same day,
What?
October the 16th.
What? What a coincidence.
Yeah. So anyway, the 2 boys, I was busy with them the grammar school was right across right around the corner, half a block away. So I was busy with their activities at school, PTA and everything. And after that, I had another child, and she was my daughter, my
Right.
first daughter, which I had, always hoped for.
Right.
And so I was busy with her too.
Right, yeah. What was the community like in Monterey?
Okay,
how
at first that was not Monterey Park. They annexed it to Monterey Park after we moved there. And it was mostly a Jewish community, in fact, when we moved in.
Right.
But after all the Japanese started moving in, all the Jewish people started moving away.
Was the intention very clear that?
Yes, because my next door neighbor said to me bluntly, "There are too many Japanese in this area, so we're leaving."
Oh, what a friendly neighbor.
And before you knew it, they were all gone. All the Jewish people were gone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just one or two left.
Oh. And so, when you had your kids, was it a largely like Japanese community then?
Yes, it was Japanese American. Yeah.
And so, like, they went to school with predominantly like Japanese American
Yes,
kids.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to see this, but
Oh, of course. I'd love to.
I take the Rafushimpo, the Japanese paper,
Oh.
and after all these years, they're going to have a reunion.
There's
This
gonna
is
be
the first reunion, and this is the elementary school, which is right near my house, and they're predominantly, you could see that they're Japanese.
Yeah. Wow.
This is my son right here, my firstborn.
He's in the school paper. It's so young.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
very interesting how
It's been
it
a
all
while.
changed,
It's all
to
changed.
Japanese people.
Right. And so this is talking about the reunion.
Yeah, we're
From
going to
the
have it.
19th.
They're going to have it on May the 14th.
Is your son going?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely
He's active
going?
here
He's here right now?
Uh-huh.
Does he work here or?
No, he's on the cabinet vice president
Oh.
with
What?
yeah.
That's so cool. Sorry, I'm like totally freaking out.
So my daughter says she's going.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun. So it sounds like they had a great time.
Oh yeah, they had a great time, and you could see that there's a lot more Japanese girls than boys. So my son loved that.
Oh.
The girls are all chasing after the boys.
Even in elementary school.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
4th grade.
4th grade.
Uh-huh. And in the 6th grade, they were all the same bunch of people. They were all the same. They were all chasing after the few boys. Yeah.
So your son, quite the ladies' man.
Huh?
Your son is quite the ladies' man then. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, and well, after elementary school, they went to Griffith Elementary School.
Oh yeah.
Which-
These all sound so familiar. Like.
Oh, which was mostly, I have a cold, so excuse
Oh
me.
no.
Griffith Elementary School. That's 7th and 8th grade, I believe, and predominantly Mexican American people.
So was that very different for them? Did they enjoy school as much? Like.
Well, the standard-wise, it wasn't as high as the Robert Hill Lane children.
Yeah.
And then after that, he went to Garfield.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of all these places.
Oh, yeah, they used to play football against Roosevelt. They were rivals.
Oh, how did that feel?
Yeah, so every year they still have, a rivalry football game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So like after everything that's happened, you're like back where you started, I guess.
Yeah. Well, my second son, he went to Griffith, and then he didn't want to go to Garfield High School.
Oh.
So he used my brother's address, who lived in Monterey Hills, and went to Alhambra High School.
Did he say in particular like why he wanted to do that? Like he didn't.
Well, they said Garfield was not academically very good. So he went to Alhambra High School. And then my daughter, at that time, they started a busing program.
A busing program.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
So from Robert Hill Lane, she was bused to the valley.
Oh.
Every day they it took them 1 hour to get there.
Oh my god. What?
way out in Encino from East Los Angeles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why so far?
Well, it's an entirely different atmosphere.
Oh,
That's what they
okay.
wanted them to have, I believe.
Oh.
So she went to Portola Junior High School,
Mhm.
and then after she finished that, she went to Reseda High School,
Oh.
continued on the bus.
Man.
And she was very active over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
What did she
it's
do?
a very
Uh-huh.
good school, and
Uh-huh.
you know, she made lots of friends. She was on the student body
Right.
as a secretary, I believe, and she was active in everything.
Right.
She loved
You
it.
must have been very proud.
Yeah.
So,
Drill
yeah.
team. We had to go way out there to see her perform.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And it was Portola especially was a very affluent area, so they had people coming in chauffeurs, you know.
Right.
When a couple of them were children of movie actors and actresses.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a neighborhood. Wow.
Yeah, Encino, you know, it was a very wealthy area.
Okay.
And then when she went to Reseda, one of her best friends, her father was the chancellor of the Los Angeles Community Colleges, and she
Wow.
was friends with her, you know.
Wow.
So most of the kids that went from Robert Hill Lane to the school over there were very active.
Oh, okay. That is so cool. When you were raising your kids, or I guess maybe before you had your first kid, were there, like, what were your hopes for your children? Like, what were you hoping? Like, how did you want to raise them, and what were you hoping for?
Yeah, well, I wanted them to continue on to higher education, you know, and go to a good college.
Right.
And well, Gary went to Cal Poly. He graduated
Wow.
Cal Poly Pomona as
Oh
a
my God, my
mechanical engineer.
Wow.
And Michael, he was a graphic artist.
So
And then my daughter, she got a scholarship to SC.
Wow.
So, you know, she did pretty well.
Awesome. Yeah.
And she's been working for Raytheon for 35 years now.
Wow. Does she like it?
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
gets to work at home now, you know, after all these years.
Yeah, that's supposed to be nice.
So she did pretty well.
I mean, graphic designer is really cool. Like, I feel like that's really cool.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
having an artistic side, like, yeah, I like that.
yeah. So that's it, you know, they all did all right.
Yeah, they had it.
They all got married, and
Uh-huh.
Gary has 2 daughters.
Mhm.
Michael has 1 son, and Carol has the 2 boys.
Right.
They're both going to college now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where are they going?
Oh, the older one goes to Monterey,
Oh. Uh-huh.
Cal State Monterey,
Right.
and then the other one just started Santa Barbara.
UCSB.
Yeah, he just
Oh.
loves it there. Comes home every other weekend though.
Really?
It's too close.
I'm the same. My school is like 20 minutes away from
Yeah.
my house. I go back like every 2 to 3 weeks. And
Oh.
it's like my mom eventually was just like, please stop coming back. And I was like, Mom, please. Yeah.
Yeah, they miss home, you know. They miss
Yeah.
their Japanese food.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Very
every
important.
time they go home, we make sure that they have all type of Japanese food that they
Right.
like.
Have you ever tried like food here that they claim is Asian but is very American? Like, have you tried food like that? Like, I don't know, like Panda Express.
Oh
and stuff like
yeah,
that. It's like, oh, it's
uh-huh.
Asian,
Yeah,
but-
they all know the difference. You know which one to go to. They say that place is not Japanese.
No.
You know, and,
Yeah. How do you feel about those type of places? Have you eaten there before?
Oh yeah, I like it.
You-
It's easy, you
Oh,
know.
that's true.
Yeah, you don't have to go through all that trouble cooking. After cooking for so many years, you just get tired of cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I seem like I've cooked for all my life. My brothers and now I'm cooking for my younger brother who's all by himself. He's handicapped, so I have to take food to him every week. And my other brother, he just died. He was in Cato for 5 years,
Wow.
and he just died about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Were you the only one in the family that would cook? Did anyone else like try to learn, try to help?
Well, I was the only one that was available, I'd say. Because I was
Kind of by
only
default.
female.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
So.
Yeah, that's really cool. When you were raising your kids, was there anything that like very deliberately you thought to yourself like, I want to pass down, like I want my kids to know this, I want them to learn this, or like anything you wanted to pass down to them? Was there
Pass out.
If like as when you were like for your kids, we talked about like your hopes and dreams for them. Was there anything that you wanted to like pass on to them, like wanted them to learn, wanted them to know? Anything in particular? Or
Yeah.
it's fine with that,
Well, I just more or less left it up to them, whatever they were interested in.
Right.
Like Gary was interested in mechanical things, and Michael was interested in art, especially graphic, and Carol, I left it up to her.
And she found her way. Yeah, it sounds like she did great. Yeah. I feel like, yeah. So, how do you feel about where you are now? Like.
Well, I'm a widow living by myself, and I'm glad that my grandchildren are doing all right.
Right. And so, it's in a good place.
And my children,
Yeah.
They're all doing all right.
So would you say you're in a good place right now?
Well, I think so.
You think so? That's good. That's awesome. There are also some like really, really intense questions on here that I wasn't sure, because it's like, okay, one of these is, what was the most important and meaningful event or experience in your life?
Oh.
Which is like such a huge question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What could that be? Most important?
Most important, most impactful, anything like that. Or anything just like that really sticks out. Like when you think back, like of one particular memory that like really.
Oh, yeah.
The dance, you said, you'll never forget.
Yeah, well, when I got married, I was very happy. We had a very nice wedding.
Right. Oh, how was your wedding?
Oh, well, it was very nice. We had it at the Shafto Chapel downtown, at the Commonwealth Church, I believe. And we had a nice reception, and all my friends were there.
The white dress.
Relatives, white dress.
The one dress you liked.
Yeah. And then my husband's nieces came from Colorado to be flower girls, the two of them. And what else? I think that was one of my happiest days.
Would you say your childhood as well? Like when you were younger, clam fishing?
Yeah, all that.
amazing.
We go to Pismo quite often. Every time there's a vacation, my grandchildren like to go wherever I live, wherever I used to live, Pismo and Monterey.
Are they very curious about your life? Like,
Yes, they
wanna
are
know
very. They want to know where I lived, and they take pictures of it,
Wow,
and
yeah.
Want to know what I used to do and
That's amazing, yeah.
who my friends were.
That's great.
Yeah, we never got to go dig up those samurai swords or rifles or my dolls.
If you ever want to go, I will help you.
Yeah.
I'll shovel.
Yeah, that's what one of my sons says, you know. But they wouldn't, I don't think it'd be there anymore.
No.
No, not after how many years?
How long has it been? Oh my God.
Yeah, 1941, 1940, yeah, 42. So how many years does that make it?
Are you curious? Are you curious?
Yeah,
if it's still
curious.
there?
Yeah.
If your son was like one day, was like, yes, we're gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
would you go?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what's in his mind, you know, one of them especially because he's very interested in swords and guns and things, you know.
Right. Was there, when your dad was burying them, like, do you remember how you felt? Like, was it sadness? It's like, no, my dolls, or
When he died?
when he buried the artifacts?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a hearing problem.
I'll speak up. That's no problem.
Well, he didn't even let us know, you know.
He didn't let you know?
No, later on we found out. What did you do with all those things? He says, I buried them in the
yard?
backyard.
Wow.
He didn't want us to know, I guess.
Wow.
He was just angry, you know, that we couldn't keep those things. Any Japanese books
Right.
or any artifacts.
Was he alone in that? Like, was he? Did you
I
feel
think a
like
lot of people, I
were
hear,
very angry?
have done that.
Buried their stuff,
Buried their,
their thing.
things.
Wow, this is something you never learned about in history class.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they only gave you so many days to leave the coastal area.
How many days?
I think a week or so.
Oh, just pack up your life and
Yeah,
go.
we had to sell the car and furniture and
Very rushed.
everything.
Yeah. What did you? Do you remember what you brought with you? Like, was it just clothes?
Clothes.
Just clothes? Nothing? Like, did you bring it? Were you able to bring like any toys? Anything?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. We had to move to a temporary hotel in Visalia,
Mhm.
you know, when we left.
Right.
And it was nothing like the home that, you know, we lived in.
Right.
It was like a hotel
Mhm.
that we had to rent
Right.
temporarily.
I know you said that you don't necessarily remember like how you felt while it was happening, but looking back at what happened, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it now?
I think it was just terrible, you know. My dad had to get rid of his car for well, it was very cheap, you know, just to get rid of it, the furniture and everything. Just our lives were just turned around.
Right. Do you feel angry now, like your dad back then might have, or how do you feel about like what kind of emotions come up?
Yeah, well, it was just in desperation that he had to do that, you know.
And so, yeah, it's a hard time.
I know they had to suffer a lot, the parents, and we were young, so we didn't affect us as much.
Would you say, how would you say you were affected while you were in camp? Because I know when you said when you left camp, you were affected because you didn't feel like you could communicate with the people in Utah as well. Like, you felt like...
Yeah, well, when you're 13 or 12 or 13, you make a lot of friends and you have lots of activities to keep you busy. So, I didn't think it was sort of fun, you know, to do all these things.
So in that moment, did you know that you were in in a relocation center? Did you know what was happening, or?
Well, there were barbed wires around.
Can I send a strong message?
And we cannot leave the area.
Right.
So we knew that, you know.
Yeah. So
We had no choice. We had to be confined there.
was security strict? Were there like guards standing around?
There was
or-
a guardhouse.
Okay. Oh. From what you remember, was like Camp 1 and Camp 3 drastically different? Like Camp 1 had a
Oh,
hospital.
well, Camp 1 was the largest camp of the three of them.
Okay.
It had the hospital and the main. It's the main. I think that was the main place where they distributed everything to the other camps, other
Right.
two camps.
And so it was like a main center. Like, would you say? How did they? I'm sorry. I'm not sure at all if like this is like kind of maybe not the best question to ask. I'm trying to think like how would they separate the people into like Camp 1 and Camp 2 and Camp 3? Like,
Oh,
are you aware of the process or anything? No. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Dumb question. Sorry.
yeah. Well, we all had the same things. I mean,
Right.
only Camp 1 had the most facilities
Right.
that they would feed into the other two camps.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm like doing it. But yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with me.
Oh, well, I didn't know, what information I could give you that would be of interest, but
No, it's not. It's more about I just want to know what your experience was, how you felt, like things like that. Like just like anything you want to tell me, I'm willing to listen to. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Well, is there anything that you would like to like add to the interview? Like anything you want to bring up that maybe I haven't addressed? I'm sure there's a lot that I haven't addressed.
I think they made a mistake by sending us to camp.
Yeah.
I really think that because the Germans and the other nationalities, Italians and everyone else didn't have to go through this, that the Japanese had to go through all this. I didn't think that was fair.
No. Yeah. Thank you so much. This is so much fun.
I'm sorry I'm not, too verbal and...
No, that was
yeah.
amazing. Yeah. I don't know. Thank you.
What is your major?
I am a neuroscience and Asian American studies double major.
Oh, wow. Very good. I think you'll do very well.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. I'm gonna click